Yeah, use the correct one.
Hey, Blizzard fans and Buck fans, we're back for another quarantine game day video. And we are joined by Blizzard owner Kathy Trinkler on an island, apparently.
Yes, I'm just secluded.
Your fingers there for a moment.
Yeah, that kind of looked weird, didn't it?
Yeah.
She's taking quarantine to a new level on an island today. And then we're also joined, because tonight's game would have been versus the Bismarck Bucks. We are joined by Heidi, general manager for the Bismarck Bucks. How are you, Heidi?
I'm doing well.
While Kathy has palm trees waving in the background, you apparently are avoiding players, which is on your field, right? Which is incredible.
Sometimes you need to step up your game, right, Kathy?
Here I am in the office, and my background
You're so boring.
Speak, apparently.
Right?
Well, thank you for taking time, Heidi. We've been doing these quarantine game day videos to keep in touch with fans, and we thought this one would be really fun to have you tell us a little bit about Bismarck. Some of that, Kathy, you're giving me problems.
Sorry. Now that I found this, it's bad.
It's over. These videos will never be the same.
Do any new tricks, Kathy?
So we thought it'd be really cool to talk to you and just get the pulse of Buck Nation and just talk to someone else in the league. And I think it's been really neat as we've done these to give fans access to inside all of our organizations. So thank you for taking time today.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me for this. This is kind of cool.
Absolutely. So right off the bat, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, how long with the Bucks, how'd you get there, and just a little bit of your background.
Oh goodness, how did I get to the Bucks? That's an interesting story. So
can we talk about that? Can we talk about that
on air?
Right.
That's private.
Right. Well, I've been with the Bucks since October of 2018. The Bucks in general, they had a very large transition the last 2019 season. So we had, new coach, new ownership group, new, I guess minority going to majority and such. So a lot of things changed. Obviously new GM, because that was with me. And then all of my staff were, a lot of them they were new. Some of them came back to work on the game day staff and such, but, and some players came back, but basically, I guess my experience, so I actually worked with a semi-pro team and had a semi-pro team just north of here in Minot, probably like, I would say 5-6 years ago now. But that's kind of how I got started. I started working for one of my friends who owned the league. He's actually out of Minnesota, to tell you the truth, so he's right in between us. And then I started working with the sponsorship stuff for Bucks, and then moved up to the GM position, and that's where I've been since. So I love sports and I love events and such. So it kind of fits in with like my project management and, love of sports and everything. And Kathy, you know very well, and you guys understand like the ins and outs of game days and stuff and how much planning goes into it. So it's been a challenge. It's been great, actually. It's kind of funny. Derek and I had a conversation not too long ago, and he's like, well, let's, long-term plans, they always have the long-term plans. What do you want to do? And I love my job. I love who I work with. I love working with the players. I love having the game days and working with fans and seeing their reactions and, changing things and making it better within our community and just growing that. So it's kind of in a nutshell.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think it gets in your blood too, right, Kathy? I think Carrie Carr told you that at one point, right?
Yeah, she did. When we first started, she said, just be careful, Kathy, because pretty soon you don't see the forest from the trees and you get sucked in. And thank you, Terry. I'm there. Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, starting out with the Bucks with sponsorship and then going over to the business side of it and working is, it's much different, but it's great. So we have a lot of great, fantastic partners and sponsors, and they're wonderful to work with. So
yeah, you guys were a great addition, not just for us from a Midwest perspective, although you're not as close as I'd like you to be, but it is a trek to get there. And for you and for your fans, you fly quite a bit, or are you traveling?
Well, we contemplated flying actually to Green Bay this year, just because at the time the tickets were crazy inexpensive, and it would have been, I think it was like $1,500 more, give or take on ticket versus bus, a plane ticket versus bus. And sometimes time wise, it just makes sense, so, and when you can get the guys in and out a little bit faster instead of having a long bus ride, everybody appreciates that. So
yeah, absolutely. So now that we're in a new state, because I think it's all fluctuating right now with COVID, in our state, the Supreme Court ruled against the governor, but then there's some counties that are saying, we're going to put in some other kind of law here and stay with the stay at home. How are your fans and your sponsors and everybody handling it up by you? Because you're a little bit different than we are. Are you under a safer at home still at this point?
We are not. We opened up some. I think you guys you obviously are less open than we are. Businesses have standards that they have to follow, but like restaurants and bars and such are at like 50% capacity and such. But in a lot of places you still need to wear a mask when you go out. But it's opened up more than what I expected, to tell you the truth. So I wasn't quite sure how it would do it, but I think people are loving it. We'll see what the numbers say. And the nice political thing about the Corona stuff, and we'll see. Our fans in general, I know they'd love for us to have a game, and they would love. And honestly, if they said they had to sit 6 feet apart, I think a majority of them would go, because they just are so sick of being inside. But they've been great overall. We've rolled over tickets into the next season, and people are excited that they're getting an additional game. And they're looking forward to whatever type of sports events. I think people in general just are looking for sports and entertainment in general.
Absolutely. Anything at this point
right.
Would be good.
I want to do marble races this weekend. I hear that's the hot new thing.
I think NASCAR's back this weekend, right? With only pit crews and drivers. I was listening to the radio, and
I think so.
Yeah.
I suppose a pit crew is similar to like, your work crew. As long as you're, not intermingling in between separate pits, you should be, fairly well. Yeah.
I did, before we get to the next question too, I was just flipping through channels for stuff to watch a couple weekends ago, and I saw them playing that simulator race against each other. So like game NASCAR racing, and it was actually pretty cool.
They had that on Mother's Day as well. They were
playing.
Yeah,
guys had full rigs, and I guess some of them actually do it competitively in life, like a
right
thing.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we were headed into collectively here. We were headed into a real cool stretch of games, because it was funny, because when I was looking into this video, we actually mimicked each other's schedule coming up here. So we were headed to you guys, both went on bye week, and then you were headed here. Basically a double header with a week off in between. So tell us a little bit about how did the team look? What had you excited for football this year? And what do you think of the back-to-back matchups? I like it because it's a little bit like a doubleheader in baseball. I think it's unique that we
exactly. Yep. Yeah, I'm a baseball fan as well. I don't know if you are, Ryan, but I love baseball too. So, honestly, I was really looking forward to having seen the players on the field more than one game. They did really well, except for, I think it was kind of funny because the first game, it was like 1 minute and 23 seconds left, and Gina from Duke City had sent me a message, and she's like, "You guys got this, girl." And I was like, I sent back, like, I'm like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Oh, too soon." But the guys did great, and I think if we would have cleaned up the QB stuff, we would have done really well.
But it was a great game to start the season.
100%.
Very competitive. It wasn't a blowout on either side, and I personally like the games that are a little bit closer.
Yeah, and it's crazy to think, like, if you take San Diego last year and us last year, and we got whomped on last year a lot, and just to see the difference in teams, just to see the difference in players. All of us that we have kind of at the beginning of the season, we have like a team dinner right after cuts, after training camp. And like, it's strange to say, but like the entire feeling of that room, and like it was completely different than the previous season, and you could just tell the players, the focus levels were much different. Not that the guys the previous year, and they were maybe not as seasoned or just didn't know what to expect, but there was definitely a different feeling in that room, and we were really, really looking forward to it. We still actually do you guys have any players left around in the area?
We do not. We have some that are somewhat local, but we, for the most part, have had everybody go home.
I have 12 still here. So, yeah. But
well,
yeah,
depending on where they live, it's probably better for them to be there.
Yeah, we have a couple that definitely, as far, I know that some of the travel stuff has lifted as of last Friday, but up until then, they really didn't have anywhere to go that was safe, So we've worked it out really well that, they have, they're working within the community, within some of our partners and such. So, and some are doing like community work, just in general volunteer stuff. So it's been great that way. It's kept them busy without, putting them at risk. So
sure. Yeah. No, it's good to keep them safe as long as you possibly can.
Right.
And I mean, that's all you can really do at this point. I mean, some of the hot spots that, down in Louisiana and in this, not all of the South, but parts of the South have hot spots. And, it is something we have to take serious.
Right.
Guys are in pretty good physical condition and health-wise probably okay, but you just don't want to take the chance of them getting anything or infecting anybody else at that point.
Yeah, I know. I was looking forward to this back-to-back a little bit too, because I got to, at the championship weekend, that's usually a league meeting that I get to go to. So I got to hang out a ton with Rod, actually, who was good friends with Corey and has Green Bay history too. So I actually enjoy Rod's company.
In the golf area for a while.
Yeah, yep. Mm-hmm. So yeah, what are you both, and this is a Kathy and Heidi question, so as we move forward as a league, what has, outside of the 8th game, because I think that's an easy answer, so we'll challenge you to think a little bit, what has you most excited for 2021 as you guys hop on owner calls, or just personally, besides getting on the field again? We know that we want to get back for our fans, but anything unique you're working on, or that this time has allowed you to dream up cool themes, or just what are you guys excited about as we take the field again next season?
Oh, Kathy, I'll let you
take
that.
You want me to go first?
All
right. So I'm just excited to get back out there, and I'm hoping, and Ryan, you've said this in some of our other sponsor videos, I'm hoping by the time we start in March that all of this stuff will be figured out. We'll either have a vaccine, or there'll be some way that everyone can just enjoy being in a stadium again. So I'm excited about that. I'm just excited about the teams that we have. We were going to come back with some great teams this year, just in number, but also in makeup of who they had playing, who they had coaching. So I was just excited to have a good competitive season. And I think, if we do a repeat of this year, as we call it in Green Bay, a do-over, I think it's going to be a pretty exciting time for the IFL. I really do.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. It's crazy to see, Ryan, you kind of touched on like the coaches and everybody kind of working together down at that meeting. And it was great to see. I agree, Kathy. I feel like we had a really good, strong group, and working through, we'll always have stuff that we tweak and move forward. But
absolutely.
Yeah, it's to a point within the league that I feel like it's very pivotal. It's like we're moving in such a good way that there can't be anything but great stuff continuing to happen. And I am looking forward to the team working and doing additional, social stuff for us and working on that and working on the league brand and within, working together within each organization kind of, and I feel like this opportunity has given us a little bit more time to reach out in the interim, because we didn't really know who all was in the league. until our schedule came out. And Kathy, I know that you know that more intimately than anyone.
Oh, yes.
So,
yes, you can all blame me. I am the keeper of the schedule. I don't know. Did we make that public ever once before? I don't.
That's at Kathy Trinkler on Twitter. You can.
No.
Oh, Kathy, I'm sorry. I outed you.
No, I think that's really cool from both of you too.
Yeah, and there's opportunities where we can work within, each of the teams, and I've talked to Gina about stuff. I've talked to you guys about stuff. I've talked to Reggie in Cedar Rapids about stuff. Ryan in San Diego. All of us work really well together, I think, and building on what works in each market. It might not exactly work for everybody, but at the same time, building on the successes of each of us, like it's fantastic. It's going to go very far, I think. And I think that we're going to have even more fans and great players. Like I was really looking forward to this season. And so I think just building on that and then moving to the next season. And like you said, Kathy, hopefully we can have some type of sports entertainment, solutions by then.
Yeah, I mean, the big boys of baseball and basketball and football will have set that course for us, and that's really what everyone has looked to.
Right.
But I enjoy, to me, this is, in the number of years that we've been with the league, this felt the most stable. Even with the hiccups that we had stability going into the season. Whether you call that stability some of the core teams that remained or some of the strength of the new teams coming in, to me, there's a sense of stability now, and having the team there to, like you said, work on some of that sponsorship on a national level, that's a big deal for us. And with all the other leagues around us folding, those that everybody thought were going to make it and were promising, thousands of dollars to players and whatever else they were promising, we've stood through it all, and I think that'll make us better. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I'll tie a bow on that one for someone who, front office, and I think it's 6 years for me now. I think it's really cool as we've got to interview Iowa's head coach, you, Heidi, Kathy Guy. I think it's really unique, right? When we're on the field on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, everybody wants to win a game. But to what the point you guys just said, like, it's insane for me over my 6 years how many different conversations I had in my first year. And I was so green. I was talking to Todd when he still owned Sioux Falls, group sales guy, and learning that piece. And everybody's in it, I think, for the health of the league. And I think that's what has me excited for 2021, right? Not just the new teams, but I've taken plenty of phone calls in this off time, said, hey, what are you doing for the 8th game? Or how are you working through sponsorship stuff? And I think there's more of a we versus a me mentality, especially through this, but in general in a league like the IFL. And I think that's really cool to get to work in a group like that. So.
And I think that's why we're still around. If it's all just cutthroat and me, after a while, that gets old.
Yeah.
Right.
For everybody.
Right. And and going to our meetings, or even having our video meetings, people are like, oh, well, this works here. Oh yeah, I can send you that,
Mm-hmm.
And that's fantastic, because you don't always get that, like you said, Kathy, and we're definitely feel very, very stable.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Heidi, since we are in this lockdown, here, not so much there. It sounds like you have more of a freedom.
Do you guys work from, do you work from a home office, or how are you guys managing that?
I'm actually at one of my businesses other than the Blizzard. So we do things for the Department of Defense, Department of Energy. So we have not been shut down. So we've been very lucky to keep our employees employed for this business. Ryan's actually at the Blizzard office. He tries to be somewhere different every video that we do. So
we've joked I've accidentally given people a tour of my house over the past month.
Nice.
Yeah, all of a sudden be like, where are you? I mean, yeah.
I'll give you a
oh, there you go. Oh, that's very pretty. That's nice. Very nice.
A little bit of coastline.
Yeah, I've been here, Heidi. To adhere to the rules in place, I come in probably half the day just because our server and stuff's here. So I'll work through any of our bookkeeping stuff for Kathy and I. And then, like I had said prior to hopping on the call, my wife's a nurse, so Dad Ryan trumps the afternoon a lot of the time. But I'll get in here, and there's really nobody here besides me, so I'll get in here flying solo, and then home, remote it, and do some of these videos. But yeah.
So you have a little one. Oh, sorry.
We have 2 of us in the office every day. So, so Shar, who handles our medical, she's in the office, and she's helping, manage the schedules with the guys right now, and whether or not if they're volunteering, it's not necessarily the same every day. So just making sure that those schedules are being taken care of, and then obviously anything as far as our workers' comp stuff that was, if there was anything, but thankfully we only had 1 game, so.
Well, and that's going to be a good one to help our mod this year, won't it? I mean,
right. I know. I'm like, hey, so how's it looking now?
Yeah, we already completed our OSHA log, and I'm like, oh, this looks really nice this year.
Right. It's very clean. I don't know why, but yeah.
So Heidi, you got a little one at home.
I do. Yeah.
And how are you staying sane? I mean, if you're going into the office every day, daycares and stuff, you're not doing anything real different?
Well, my daycare is kind of fantastic. Crew had a nanny up until the season started this year. And then just because she was a student, and so she graduated in December. And so, she decided it's time for her to get a real job, so I loved having her. She was phenomenal. I just leave them at home, and she would come to my house in the morning, and it was great. But the daycare honestly has been very good. They have separate rooms where they have children of essential staff, and so more of a high risk area. And then they had an area where you had basically like me, who is not quite essential, but I was considered essential to some extent because of, our ownership group and what they do, the communications efforts, and we were helping with that. So I was working on some of that stuff as well. But he goes every day, and, I have to answer a whole bunch of questions. And, for a while they were taking temperatures and just making sure everybody was safe. So.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I've been fortunate that way. They did not have a single case within the daycare, and none of the staff, none of the families. So really good.
So Heidi, as we start to wrap up these calls, we ask the people that we're talking to if they have any words of wisdom or advice for either the Buck fans or the Blizzard fans about this time, and about, everybody hears stay positive, but sometimes it's really difficult to do if your job has been threatened, or you're on unemployment, or your mental health isn't that great because you're at home with a bunch of kids, or whatever's going on in your world. So you got any words of wisdom for us, or catchphrases?
Well, I catchphrases, I don't know, but I would just say,
stay healthy, catchphrases.
Right? Buck up. Just kidding.
Oh, there you
go. Maybe buck up and be kind, because not everybody understands, all of us have very different daily lives right now. Mine really hasn't changed as far as going to work every day, but obviously the game portion of it has changed. So although I go to work every day, it's not the same stuff that I was doing at the beginning of the season. So it's just, you never know what somebody is going through, or what, like you said, if their job is in jeopardy, or what is happening if they've been furloughed, or, maybe their family member is an essential, worker working at a hospital, and they're working 12, 16 hours, sometimes longer right now, just because of overloads. And you don't know what people are going through. So just be kind.
I like that. Yeah. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
So
I like it.
Yeah, right.
I like it a lot. So just a fun fact, and we had Kathy Guy on. Heidi is the other member of the executive committee. So just so everybody puts a face to the name.
Now we're all going to get face.
Now and she's at Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Todd always teases me with the girl power thing, but hey,
I
if
know.
it works.
He's like, I got 3 ladies on my side, right?
Yeah, exactly. He's got great backup.
He's like Charlie, and we're the Angels.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Ooh, I want to be Sabrina.
I'm going to say that next time we have a call. I'll be like, hi, Todd.
I hope he watches this one. I've seen him like certain Blizzard videos, so I know he has a pulse on it, but I want to tag him.
Kathy, next time we'll have we can hold footballs and get a Charlie's Angel pose going,
That's funny.
Well, we appreciate it.
Little Angels.
Yep.
Thank you for taking time today. And I know because actually Dylan from Blizzard staff is over by you guys too. He speaks highly of it. Again, I got to meet you for the first time in Arizona this past championship season.
Yep.
So a ton of respect to you and Rod and crew. And we appreciate you taking time, and we enjoy working with you. And we hope that there's a back-to-back next season, Kathy.
I like doing the back-to-back because to me it's vindication for whoever. I mean, somebody has to lose the game, right? So,
right.
We
don't want any. We don't want any of those middle dashes, right?
Correct.
No.
No. So I like doing the back-to-backs, and especially with a buy-in between, because then you can really reevaluate before you get on the road to go back or to go there. Yeah. That was nice. Yeah, well, I wish that I could just pull dates out of a hat and sign them that way, but just so all of you know.
Bismarck was one of the first ones to have their dates. I think we actually might be our first ones to have their dates in.
You usually are, yeah.
I already sent mine in. Did you know that?
Wow.
No, I did not know that.
It's probably been a month now because I sat down. Well, I actually had my 2021 dates last season.
Oh, that's nice. We have so much going on in our arena, though, that we can't get them until different.
But they are reserved for me first, which is nice.
Yeah.
I was second hold, and now I'm up to first, which is nice.
That's fantastic.
Yep.
That's good. Just as a disclaimer, though, people, you can only do so much with the schedule if you have dates that coincide with who you want to play. Right. So sometimes there's no rhyme or reason to how the schedule gets put together. It looks that way, but there is reason behind it. It's usually the dates. So that's my disclaimer.
Right.
Good.
Kathy's going to go
at Kathy on Twitter.
You
can add some random Kathy, just not that Kathy. So.
Yeah, exactly. Poor lady. Poor person.
That girl.
Well, thank you guys, Blizzard fans and Buck fans. We miss you, and we look forward Heidi, I look forward to seeing you at a home or away game when we hit 2021, and look forward to getting on some calls as we prep for the 2021 season.
Yeah, it'll be here before you know it.
Yeah, it will. Definitely.
Well, thank you. Go Blizz and buck up.
Right?
Buck up.
Buck up.
Buck up and be kind.
Yeah, buck up and be kind.
Nice.